had resulted in a change order to the original estimate in the amount of $111,460.30 plus applicable taxes. That would bring the total contracted amount to $607,569.01. The utility had allocated $1 million for this maintenance this year, so this would still fall within the allocated budget. And we're seeking approval to move that forward to council.
Thank you for that explanation, Josh. Any questions, concerns?
Yes, I do, Chair.
Okay, both of them here. Go ahead.
Me
Mr.
first?
Ramsey, yeah,
Okay,
you were
thank
first
you.
there.
Yes, thank you, Josh, for that. And, you know, and I agree that it has to be done, but at the same time, when you enter into a contract, it's the same as if I'm gonna build a house or have someone build me a house and they say it's gonna be $400,000 and everything's all signed and delivered and everything. And then all of a sudden they come back and they're just saying, well, we need an extra $50,000, $100,000. Once they started to work, I believe they already started to work on this, did they? And they found out these issues? Yeah, so anyway, I'm just wondering, you know, why change boats in the middle of the stream? Like, in future years, maybe if, you know, you should fulfill the contract you already signed, and then let's say next year, if they're back again next year, well, then they can sort of allocate for those issues, but, and I'm in favor of this because I know the work has to be done, but it's just, like, it isn't $10,000 here we're talking about close to $112,000, Mr. Chair, and the thing just doesn't sit well once you get into a job, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're added an extra $112,000. Okay, that's all it is. Thank you.
Do you want to take that one, Josh?
Yes, no, thank you. So the contract was based on an estimated quantity. With our consultant, CPCL, we had worked and came up with what we would estimate to be removed from the tanks. And the staff at the plant did an excellent job. We initially had the quantities pretty close to where we thought the estimate would be. But during the process, groundwater had worked its way into the digester itself. So there are relief valves to prevent damage to the structure, because once it is emptied, it can become essentially light enough to float with the pressure of groundwater. So to prevent damage to the structure and prevent it from actually floating, these valves will allow the pressure relief from that groundwater, so that groundwater will actually make its way into the tank. And it made its way into the tank in sufficient quantities that it had increased what our original estimates would have been. So that's the reason behind the change order, is that they actually had to do more work than what was agreed to initially.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I'd be a bit of a difference of opinion to Councillor Ramsey in the sense of when I review this, I feel that, you know, it's certainly something that was unknown and discovered as a result of the work that happened. I'm sure best efforts were put forward to try to estimate everything the best they could with the thing, and do see that there was a decent allocation, a budget for this particular maintenance work. So we're still well within that. And things happen in unforeseen circumstances, you know, and it is, as Councillor Ramsey indicated, it's $112,000 change order. That's not to be taken lightly by any means, but I think based on the explanation that you've provided here today, I'd be willing to move it forward to council and support the application or support the resolution.
Yeah,
Thank you, Councillor.
and I'm not saying that I'm against it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Councilor Materi. I'm just saying that it just seemed like we get into it, and then all of a sudden we get hit with another bill, and that happens everywhere in every business and in every corporation. But I'm just saying it's not an easy fix, and it has to be done. So I'm all in favor of it. I just want to state that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. I know when we started this, we have 2 digesters, and we were going to do them once in 1 year, but the first one was so much work that we put this one off for the next year. So, you know, again, they're estimates when you start. You don't really know, like, it's not, okay, we have 100 liters, you know, and that's what we're working up with. You know, once you open it up and you get inside and you start looking at it, then the numbers fluctuate. So that's where we're at with this, if I'm correct in saying that, you know.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. No more questions, we're moving on to council. And it is a change order. I know we're getting a council the other night, you know, Sole Source. They were the only company that was looking to do this work. They're only company that's capable to do this work. And this was a contract. We're not going to tender like other things. This was a contract, and it expanded, so there'd be no need to going back to finance, no need to do any of that stuff. Am I correct in that as well, Josh?
That's correct. This is in relation directly to that contract. It's not extra work. It's, when I say extra work, it's directly related to the performance of what was originally tendered.
Perfect.
It's just it ended up being slightly more due to quantity differences. Yep.
That's terrific. Moving on to council, that'd be awesome. Moved by Councilor Mattar, second by Councilor Ramsey. Thank you. Perfect. All right, we'll go back into introduction of new business. I don't see any new business. It's not on the agenda. The mayor's not here to ask any questions. So, it was very important to get this out, and I appreciate everybody coming in for it. We didn't have a big agenda for this month. Josh is doing great in his new position, so I guess we'll have an adjournment if we can. Moved by Councilor Ramsey, second by Councilor Mattar. Thank you, everyone, for coming down. Thank you very much. Thank you.